All right, we're going to start the webinar. And they should be coming in soon. We're going to, and our webinar is live. People are going to start jumping in. We're also live on Facebook. It's preparing right now. And here we go. We're actually live on Facebook as well. And our attendees are coming in. I really appreciate. Good afternoon, everybody. All right, let me close that window, make sure it's working. And we are live. All right, everybody, thank you very much. Today is March 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're following us from California, New York, Texas, a lot of great, people that actually are following us. We really appreciate. We're going live right now because we have a very, very important topic to cover. What is that topic, guys and girls? That topic is interest rates. One of the biggest fears right now in the industry is, Wagner, what happened if I purchase that new house from you, and at the end of the day, I have to wait 8 months for that house to be ready? What happens to my interest rates? I brought you guys the best people in the market today, Aaron and Graham, to talk a little bit about interest rate and how can you lock your interest rate today, even if your house is not going to be ready for 8 months to a year. So welcome, Graham. Welcome, Aaron. I'm going to share my screen and do the introduction for you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Wagner. It's always a pleasure talking shop with you.
It is always a pleasure.
Hopefully this will be a good one.
Always a pleasure. So this is pretty much our webinar. We're actually live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you're watching us right now, just take a look at what we have for you. So a little bit of an introduction is, B2R Direct and Wagner Nolasco, we don't actually sell mortgage. We don't make any money on the mortgage business, but we have great partners such as Graham, which are preferred lenders, and Aaron for us that actually service a lot of our clients. And they're going to be talking about this. A little bit about me, if you know. We have actually delivered now over $750 million in projects. This should be 700 million. We have 3,207 units under construction right now, which totals over $750 million under development and under construction. So we really appreciate you following us. And I'll actually let Graham do his introduction. Graham, thank you very much once again for being here. And go ahead, my friend. The floor is all yours.
You are quite welcome. Obviously, see, it's about the presenter, so I might as well tell you a little bit about myself. As the slide says, I've been at this for 25 years, which obviously dates me, as you can well see with my gray hair. But all we do is basically work with investors. I've been doing it for that length of time. We'll close quite a few loans a month, anywhere between 80 and 100 loans a month, just for people that are probably on this webinar. I, too, am an investor. I've been at it for about 18 years. And Wagner sucked me into about a dozen properties last year, looking to do some more this year, that is. So my inventory is still running about 42 properties, and soon to, keep it adding to that. And it seems like it's always in Florida, but that's a good thing. But it's all been good. I've enjoyed it. I think it's a win-win situation, and I'm looking forward to more greatness from you, Wagner.
Thank you very much, Graham. It's always a pleasure. We actually trust you a lot, you and Aaron, your company, with our clients and our buyers as well. We really believe you to be one of the best in the business. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Wagner. We definitely appreciate you having us on. And to introduce myself, I've been with Graham for just about 7 years now as his production partner. And like Graham said, all we really strive to work with are investors, active investors like Graham. I also am an active investor myself, kind of quickly after getting in this industry and in this niche that we're in. I quickly realized, the benefits that our borrowers have as they work to acquire these investment properties, as they work to grow their portfolios. So in the day-to-day operations, I function more kind of as a boots on the ground man, as you will. So I'm very, in depth with all of our daily operations, all the loans that close each month, and what it takes to get those closed out. So yeah, once again, Wagner, we really, really appreciate you having us on, and we're extremely excited to share what we have to offer today with everyone.
It's a great pleasure for us. And this is going to help so many buyers right now that you have no idea. Because one of the biggest questions we have right now is, well, Wagner, I'm buying a new construction home. What happens with the interest rates if it rises several times this year? Can we lock in our interest rates for now? And my answer was always no, until Graham and Aaron came up with the program that they're going to present it to you. But before we get into more details, guys and girls, let's take a look at some of the numbers that Graham and his partners are actually delivering on a daily and monthly and yearly basis. So Graham and Aaron, floor is yours. Feel free to talk a little bit about your business and your company.
Well, this obviously represents how many loans we closed last year, which is very similar to what we're probably going to do this year and in 2020 as well. I should have, if I shared 2020, it's not really a fair representation because, that was the year COVID's, sprung loose in March, and the rates dropped considerably and loans were falling from the sky, but it really wasn't like that as much during 21. So these are pretty much, we do about 87 to 90% all purchase. We are recognized by these accolades that you can see at the bottom of that slide from the National Mortgage News, as well as the Scotsman Guide, which kind of gauges who's doing what in the industry. I'm not going to say that we're the top, but we're in the top 1%. So, and just to kind of share a little bit more about Aaron, he runs the show. It may be mine. I'll talk to people on the phone, but he's making it close. He's getting you to the finish line, and I'm just fortunate to have him. So anyway, looks like we're going to the next slide there. Is that right?
Market coverage. And let me just rephrase this as well, not rephrase it, just to emphasize as well as how right Graham is. Real estate is a team sport. Nobody does anything by themselves, right? This is all about the teams that we are able to create. Graham and Aaron are able to create. So congratulations, Graham, for noticing that and actually giving it credit, because some people think they can do it by themselves, but they really can't. So, yep. Sorry to have interrupted. I thought it was very important to mention this because,
And thank you for sharing that, Wagner, because we have a fabulous team. It's not just Aaron and I. Everyone on our team it's a well-oiled machine. It's one of those things where when you grow, you have to get in front of the growth instead of chasing it. And we've managed to do that. So we've added a lot of people over the last couple of years, but we've managed to tweak everyone's position. We have their lanes that they stay in, and it works. So it's been great. And if I had to fix anything right now, couldn't fix anything because we got a well-oiled machine going.
Congratulations. Here we go, guys. Market coverage.
This is currently where we're at as far as the market coverage. If you see that little star there in Texas, that's where Aaron and I office. We are at the corporate facilities there in Dallas, Texas. We do business all over the country. We do a lot of business in Florida. We probably do less than 2% of our business in our own backyard, oddly enough. And the bulk of it is in Florida, believe it or not, because it's such a hot market down there these days. And I'm a firm believer, and I've got coming up on 20 properties down there. So it's a good market to be in.
Congrats. It really is. I'm actually, funny enough, today I went to visit 5 of my properties are actually coming to be completed this month. 2 are getting completed this month and 3 next month. So absolutely amazing. I already have tenant applications. We just listed those properties and I already have like 30 or 40 applicants per house. Crazy.
That's awesome.
Yep. So
okay. Everybody's wanting why? Well, back during the pandemic, the federal government pushed on the gas, which means they pushed down on that gas pedal. They dropped the rates down to the lowest it's ever been at forever. And that was due to trying to keep the economy in check. Now that the beginning of the year, we're starting to experiencing some inflation, which is due to a lot of different things. But the inflation started, around the first of the year. It's up about, we're averaging about a 7% inflationary number at this point. I saw some stats today, maybe closer to 7.5, but it's the highest we've seen in about 40 years. The percentage they like to keep it at is roughly about 2%. but we're pegging about 7-8%. So the federal government, wants to keep the economy in check, and the only way that they feel is necessary is to raise interest rates, and that's exactly what they've done. This second slide that they're scrolling to is really kind of to show you where we were prior to the March 2020, which is when the pandemic hit, to where we are now. So I'm going to say like January, February of 2000, our pre-pandemic, our interest rates was around 4.75. So people that have been buying properties for that length of time, they'll know that 4.75 wasn't all bad back then. It's still not that bad now. Today's interest rate, this slide presentation was put together about a week and a half ago. So that's changed a little bit because the market continues to go up. So today's interest rate is probably closer to like 5.125. And that's on a 20% down program. You could probably get, closer to 4.625 with a 25%. And that all has to do with credit, loan amount, and so forth. But, the point I'm making here is, even the year prior to that in 19, we were locking our rates at the 5 to 6% and still made it work. So people that have been in the business, they've experienced this, they know it's not something that doesn't slow them down. Okay. Do they want to capture the best interest rate? We all do. Okay. But as Wagner says, you have a length of time to build, and you got to wait for it to be built, because the average rate lock for most lenders is anywhere from 30 to 60 days. And so that's why we developed this program, and we'll get to it here in just a second. This slide here, it kind of represents where we are with the interest rates. And I guess what we ought to take a look at, and this is a owner occupied rate chart. They don't really publicize non-owner occupied. So you really just kind of gauge where we are in this chart and just add another point. Okay. Because that's typically what the delta difference is. But take a look at right there at January, I think that's January 22. When I told you that the inflation on the rates took off, there we are. And this is probably a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks old chart, which that thing has probably gone up even further since then. So yes, we are on the move. We have been in better rate environments, but take a look at June of 18. We were right there, and that's not that far out. June, well, it was actually about, I say January of 18, almost closer to December. Well, maybe it was May. I'm having a tough time reading that chart. If you can see where it represents right there at 5%. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was trying to explain a moment ago on that previous slide. That's where we were. We were still locking in rates. We were still funding loans for investment properties. Obviously, the pandemic made it dive, and now we're heading back up. How far? It's to be determined. If I had a crystal ball, I'd be hitting it with a hammer about now. But we just don't know. There's a lot of factors. Obviously, one of the big factors is this Ukraine conflict. We all are very saddened about this whole thing. We still don't know what the outcome is going to be. Is it going to affect the market? Absolutely. And the number one thing is oil. Oil prices, I think beginning of the year, around probably $1 a barrel. I think we're at 123, 124 today. I don't need to tell you, when you go fill up your tank, it's probably the highest it's ever been in a very, very, well, historically. I don't drive much, so I don't know what it's like in Florida. I don't know where you are with gas done in Florida, but I think
have an electric car, and I also have a pickup truck because, I'm a country boy per se. I love my pickup truck, and I fill it up today. $98 for a tank of gas. It's $4.20, $4.22 today in Florida. I felt like I was in California. I really did. And shocking, right? My electric car is extremely inexpensive to recharge now, but the truck, oh boy, let me tell you, that's fun.
Well, Aaron and we drive some pretty cool cars. So I don't think we're ready to trade just yet for the electric thing, but I'm sure it's coming down the pike. If I really wanted high performance speed off the jump, I'd get an electric car. But anyway, here nor there. The thing I want to talk to you about on this Russian thing is it's going to have an impact on the market, which means that a lot of people, or the investors that are in the market, they want to make sure that they have they want to, where do I want to put my money? So they they jump over into the bonds, which can help us or it can hurt us depending on the day. This last week has not been a very good day in the marketplace. We've seen a little bit of tick up every day. We're expecting the Feds to meet on the 16th. They've already said they're going to raise another quarter point. They're going to be meeting probably another 7 or 8 times this year. Yep. The forecast is they were going to do, I think it was like 5 increases in rate this year. Be honest with you, it's probably going to be more than that. My gut feel. Once again, I don't have the crystal ball and the hammer, so I don't know. But this next slide obviously kind of talks about, you know, what happened during the COVID era and made the rates drop. Now we, you know, since December of 22, we're seeing a lot of things that are affecting it. But that third bullet there says, you know, 7% inflation in the last 12 months. That's huge. I mean, that is huge, guys. And, you know, the federal government is trying to stop it. And one of their biggest components is the rates. You know, let's slow them. Let's slow this inflation down so we don't hit any kind of recessionary period. But I suspect that we're probably due for that. But once again, I'm not an economist. I just peddle loans for a living. So, you know, don't take my word for it. The last bullet there, be prepared for rates to continue to rise in 22. Personally, that's my opinion. I suspect that they're going to continue to go up.
I think you're right.
So what we decided to do is we decided to come up with a rate lock program. And this is strictly for builders, okay, which is what Aaron or what Wagner is doing. What he's doing is he's building the product. At the end of the build period, that's when you step in and get your financing in order, and then go ahead and lock in on a rate and close on whatever rate that's available at that time. Typically, you know, before this rate lock program, we would lock anywhere between 30 and 45 days from the closing. So, but we don't know if your build's out 8 months to a year. We just don't know what that market's going to look like at that point. So our management came up with this program, and this is not a new program for the industry. Rate lock, we've had extended rate lock programs for several different lenders, but they've been primarily for owner occupied transactions. I haven't seen any of them go a year. Mostly they go about 6 months. So when they came up with this, I went, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. Let's make sure we can do this. So I did a lot of homework and we checked into it. And really what this is an insurance policy. Okay. This is for those people that, you know, are a little scared, thinking, okay, my profit model is going to be this at this rate. And if it goes up another point, my profit model is going to be here at this rate. Well, this is a way to protect that. Okay. It's an insurance policy that has some hidden benefits that Aaron's going to explain, but keep in mind, this is for new construction only. So I'm going to let Aaron kind of run from here.
Thanks, Graham. And yeah, as Graham stated, this is a new construction product only. And while these have been around for owner-occupied properties in the past, we have yet to see this come out for non-owner occupied. And that's why, you know, we're really, really grateful for it. You know, grateful to our company that they would allow us to brainstorm with them, you know, on behalf of our borrowers to find a useful tool, something you know, in our toolbox that we could offer that would help put our borrowers at ease, especially as we continue to go through 2022 and, you know, what many are going to think is going to be a rising rate environment is kind of the perspective so far. So looking at this first slide, we lay it out real simply, and it all has to do with how long are we wanting to lock the loan. So we can actually go all the way up to a full year or as little as 120 days when using this program. So it's really, really easy for the borrower to determine their rate whenever we're going over these. Say, for example, they want to use the 360-day extended lock program. All we do, for example, today, we're roughly at 4.75%. You can see right here, we would add 1% to the rate. So you take your 4.75, now you're at 5.75, and that new rate is going to be secured for a full year. If rates go up to 6.5%, 6%, you're still secured. And it all differs depending on how long the borrowers want to lock in. So that's something that you know, our team is constantly doing with Wagner and other builders is, you know, what's the ETA on this property? Are we 6 months out? Are we 9 months out? Are we 10 months out? You can see if we're just needing a 180-day lock period, for example, we take a look at that. Let's take our 4.75%, add the 3/8. Now you're at 5 1/8, 5.125%, and you have that secured for 6 months. Rates go up to 6%, you're golden at the 5 1/8. Now, one other thing, Wagner, if you want to scroll down to that upfront deposit page, because this is ultimately, we want our borrowers to think of this like a insurance policy, a program that can put their mind at ease so they have the rate secured for as long as they want. Because we are securing that rate as the lender, there is some cost associated with it internally. Because of that, we require a 1% deposit upfront. And how that works is if we were going to lock in your rate today at the 4.75 for a year, we would require that 1% deposit, which is just going to be 1% of the loan amount. So if our loan amount is $200,000, that 1% is $2,000. And what's required is the borrower, you actually need to mail that into us, overnight it into Highlands. We'll give you all the instructions, all the info you need. We ask that it get to us within 72 hours from when we initially lock the rate. Once we have that deposit, we continue to hold it. Flash forward a year, we go and close on the loan. That deposit is actually credited back to the borrower on their final closing disclosure. So they're ultimately getting that money back into their pocket. Think of it similar to earnest money, for example. If you pay that up front, but once you get to closing, you'll see that ultimately factored in. So it's not double dipped. So the whole point with this deposit, while it is a 1% deposit that is required to be sent in, once the file goes to close, the borrower gets all that money back into their pocket. So they're not out any money at the end of the day in order to take advantage of this program.
Oh, I love that. So just to bring a little bit of a flavor into it, let's just say there's no $100,000 homes, guys and girls. But if we had a $100,000 house, it would cost me $1,000 to send you a check for the deposit for $1,000, and that will actually be in escrow until my closing becomes due, correct?
And actually even a little smaller than that, because it's going to be based off the loan amount, Wagner.
Correct.
So
you're correct. Yeah. So if I had
even a little bit smaller, correct.
20% down, so it will be $80,000. So average be about $1,600.
Now, when you say held in escrow, that's a good general terminology. We actually hold it. The escrow company does not. And it is credited back just the same way earnest money, which is typically held for the title company. But yeah, a credit, it's a credit. And we do this because we want to protect our interests, because we're sticking our neck out on this thing. This is a huge risk program for our company that we're willing to take on. And as we continue on with the presentation, we'll explain there's hardly any risk. Can you go back up a little bit on that slide screen?
Sure.
One more page there. One of the things that, it's like an insurance policy, like I said, and whether you make a claim or you don't make a claim, it's really hard. I mean, it's a good risk. Okay. But one of the things I think Aaron missed on this thing is he was talking about some rates earlier. Let's just say the 4.75. And then a lot of customers always ask, well, can you buy it down? Well, that last little blurb there, yes, you can. If you want to take the 4.75 and buy it down to say 4 3/8. Well, yeah, you'll pay a point. Well, you won't pay it up front, but it'll be associated to that lock at the 4.375.
Right. Now,
when we talk about the float down, Aaron, I'm gonna let you take it from there to say how we can either keep it or eliminate that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I'll back up just a little bit there, but yeah, so we can go ahead and scroll down, Wagner, past this deposit. Yeah, one-time float down option. So what's awesome about this program is we do lock today. We're locked in for that year-long program. And say by some miracle, we get close to closing and rates are actually better than when we initially started. This program allows for a one-time float down option once we get within 30 days of the close. So say upfront, like the model that Graham just explained, the borrower wanted to buy down their interest rate a little bit, which is completely allowed. Say they locked in at 4.25% with 1 point. We flash forward, we're 11 months, we're about a month out from closing, and rates are at 4%. Well, what we can do then, take them down to 4% and wipe out the 1 point that they were paying in order to get that, if rates are low enough to allow it. So
that's great.
It's an incredible model in the sense that you have your rate secured, you have it for up to a year, knowing worst case scenario rates go up to 6.5%, 7%. you still have that great rate secured. And then vice versa, you have it secured if rates go down. We're in a trend for 6 months and then they start to dip down by some, again, no one has the crystal ball. Well, once we're 30 days out from closing, if the rates are low enough, they're better than what we originally locked you in at, we're going to float down to that, no questions asked. And the borrower is going to be able to take advantage of those current market better conditions. So you're secured on the front end if they go up, and vice versa, if they go down, you've got security there as well with the float down option.
I mean, that totally is a win-win. I can't see how you can lose on that. You get peace of mind. This is your insurance policy for a simple deposit. Now, one of the things that we, because we've already calculated our risk in this, as Aaron mentioned, there's a cost involved. Okay. So whatever crazy reason, you just think Aaron and I are just evil and we're ugly and we just don't want to play with you at the end, and you want to walk from the deal, you still can do it, but we're going to keep that 1% deposit. So just keep that in mind.
But this is what I call, Graham, an insurance policy. Why do we buy fire insurance for a house? Why do we buy automobile insurance? For us not to use. Hopefully we're not going to have to use. Hopefully the American economy is going to still the same. There's no inflation, right? Nothing is more expensive at the supermarket right now. Gas is not more expensive. But this is the deal. If the interest rates surpass 1%, you guys already made your money big time, right? Plus, you had a full year of bed rest without any pillow headache that you're not going to be able to sleep at night. What is it going to be the interest rate in a year from now? Who cares? That's Graham's and Aaron's risk. As long as you actually secure 2 days interest rate with a premium, which is actually a deposit, not even a premium, to buy that insurance policy, great. Now, let's say that the market actually goes, pre-COVID, right at COVID, if I remember correctly, 2 point something fixed for 30 years.
For investment properties, let's keep it around 3. Okay.
There you go. 3%.
So yeah.
Anyways, whatever
ahead,
happens on the downside, you guys actually make advantage of that, and you keep that economy, that's those savings. So, man, I'll tell you, this is an amazing program. I actually knew about the insurance policy on the upside, but I did not know about the credit on the downside. So this is even better than what I thought.
Exactly. So a couple other tidbits that are kind of unique to this program that aren't traditionally allowed when we go and just lock a standard loan in. If you go down a little bit further, since we discussed the float down. So couple of things here. If we do lock into the year period, and as we know, delays can happen, materials, we can still extend these things at the end of the day. So even with that added peace of mind of, okay, I have my 6-month rate lock, I have my 9th month rate lock. Well, we get to 8.5 months and, we need another 2 months. Do I have to go with the new 6% that is current market? No, we can still even extend the loans off this program. Of course, that's not going to be the goal, but the borrower is not going to be left out to dry if that 9 months doesn't cover it, the 6 months doesn't cover it. There is a small cost when we do go to extend it, but the short and skinny is we can even extend up to 75 days after that lock is going to potentially expire. Typically, we're held to about 30 days, so this more than doubles that. On top of an extended lock program, which is pretty awesome.
So, let me say something, and this is nothing against you, Wagner, or your builders.
Sure.
But Wagner, you and I know we've been down this path many times. There's several things that can slow the builder down. Permitting, inspections, materials, the truss, the windows, the appliances, all kinds of things can slow it down, the workforce. So you have a projected date that you're trying to say, okay, this is when this property is going to be built. My experience alone, I would take whatever that date is and add another 30 days for your own protection when you're considering one of these rate locks. Do I need to take the 120, the 180, the 270, whatever the case may be. And once again, I'm not saying your build is slow by any means,
no.
Wagner. These things just happen. We both know that.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
I just wanted to compliment exactly what you said. And the 270 day and 365 days exactly the same cost, correct?
Yep.
So why wouldn't you actually pick 365 days just to give you the peace of mind? Remember, from
Exactly.
6 months to a year, it's only a quarter of a point different. Now, if you decide to extend later, which is a great option, don't get me wrong, but it's a quarter of a point for each 10 days. So it's, in my opinion, as an investor, I'd rather pay it up front, a quarter of a point more, which in every $100,000 is $250, which is a nice steak lunch for me myself. If I have my wife is more than that, for the peace of mind. So I would highly recommend to all of our buyers, if you want to do this, do the 365 days. That's the best program. And if you want to do the shorter one, if your house is getting ready to close, do it. Communicate with our team. We'll let you know exactly what we're projecting for closing. Yes, we have a material shortage right now. Yes, we have construction delays right now, but everybody in the country does, right? We have a material supply disruption, which is global. It's not only the US. So
True.
our team, Graham's team, Aaron's team, we're trying to give you the precise solution for you to continue to invest with the peace of mind that you are locking in your interest rate today, right? That's the bottom line. That's an insurance policy. Hopefully it comes down. But if it doesn't, guess what? You already have your interest rate locked in today. I think we have a couple more slides. I'll let you guys go through it. Change of loan amount.
Yeah. So there's definitely a couple additional kind of cool features to this program. So another one that I'm sure some borrowers have experience out there is potentially increase in the purchase price on that property as time goes by, as materials increase. Well, amendment might have to get drawn to increase that purchase price due to that. One cool thing about this loan amount is as long as we're within a overall 10% tolerance, we get an amendment and we have a new purchase price, we can update the loan program. We can still honor the loan program, honor that extended rate, as long as it's within a 10% threshold. So that's also a cool feature that gives us wiggle room on this product. So we're not, a lot of things can change in a year, as we all know. And this allows for flexibility, allows that borrower still to maintain their 20% loan to value, or 80% or 75, depending on if they want to put 20 or 25% down. So this still allows them to honor that if any potential increases in that overall construction price do come.
Fantastic.
And along those same lines, kind of on that same point, a lot can change in a year, right? And we've had borrowers before where this house, might have not worked out for whatever unforeseen thing, but the one right across the street in the same complex fits the model, fits the build for them. If something like that happens, we can change the address again, as long as we're within a 10% tolerance, the new purchase price, all of that, as long as that's within 10%, they want to buy a new one, even in a new city. It doesn't have to be in the same neighborhood. We can still honor that. So this doesn't have to be right next door. It doesn't have to be down the block. As long as it's within a 10% tolerance, we can still use this program and switch over to that new property if needed.
Nobody in the industry does that.
No, I'm blown away. And let me give you guys a precise example. If you guys have followed us lately, you're buying a 4-bedroom house on Banner Oaks, which is $299,000. But, you say, okay, Wagner, Natty Townhomes in Palm Bay, they're great and they're going to be ready between June and July. And my house is only going to be ready in January 2023. So I wanted to change. And I had a cancellation, for example, so I can reallocate the contract to you. You can transfer 100% of your security deposit for the lock to your new property, right?
Correct.
Exactly.
Only thing is you have to be within 10% of the total price. In this case, it's $299 to $290. So you're right there. You're going to be actually able to comply. This is unheard of in the market, guys. Congratulations. This is amazing. And if you guys have any more questions, the information is going to be available by Graham and Aaron as well at the end with all of their contact. And here we are. Look at those handsome guys over here. Graham and Aaron. Please, if you have any questions, our team is more than glad to share their phone number, email, but we can also send you a copy of the slide. The Parham team at highlandsmortgage.com is really their website and their email address. You have their actually personal phone numbers right there on the screen. Make a note of it. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and we're going to get into questions. I think we have some questions here right now, and we'll go ahead and answer some questions. So as far as the questions that we have here available right now is, I think we already answered this one, but I'm going to throw it at you guys, is what happens if the interest rates lowers than actually what it is today? What do we do? So that's
Aaron just described that. I'm going to let him tell it again.
Yeah, so that essentially is the float down option that we went over. So how that works is once we are within 30 days of closing, if rates are lower than when we originally locked you in, so say we locked in at 4.75%, we go to close and rates are at 4.375, we're within 30 days, we will float down your rate to that new 4.375%. So once we get under 30 days, if rates are lower, we will be allowed to take advantage of that new lower rate, and the borrower will now have that rate at no additional cost to them.
That's great.
We have to allocate our commitment to the market to deliver this loan. Okay. That's why we have it within 30 days, because it keeps us within our tolerances of deliverability, because you can't call midway through 6 months from now if you do a 365-day lock. So I want to float it down now. That it's not available. It's only for the last 30 days of construction.
Great. We actually have another question here, guys. Thank you so much for answering that. Do I have to qualify for the loan today or right before my closing if I lock my rate today?
Both. Go for it, Aaron.
Great.
Yeah, and that's an excellent question that I did want to cover. So we do require the borrower to be pre-approved before we do lock them into this program. And the whole reason behind that is we want to make sure we can deliver the loan for the borrower. We don't want to, arbitrarily lock them into this rate, find out a year from now when we go to actually look at all their documentation that, oh no, we can't help you out. You lose your deposit, you're out of luck. That's why we do require a full pre-approval upfront. It just takes our team a day or two once we do get the application in. We check everything, do essentially a full underwrite, if you will, of the file beforehand to make sure that we can deliver on that product. As soon as that checks out, as soon as the borrower's pre-approved, we can lock them into that rate same day and get this whole program started.
So my recommendation would be not to file bankruptcy, don't lose your job or go buy a yacht. That would be helpful. Okay.
Exactly. And as far as what the borrower can expect once we get to that 30, 40 day window out from closing, that's when we'll re-engage them to update some of those documents that might have expired. Pay stubs, bank statements, that's about it. Anything that has to be time sensitive like that. But to answer your question, both. We look at it on the front end, as well as we'll have to update everything briefly whenever we do finally go to close about a month out from the property completion.
Thank you guys so much for really going in depth into this. The next question that I have here from the same attendee is, what's the minimum credit scores to qualify for the best rate available for investors today?
Best rate is 740. The way Fannie Mae prices, they price it in 20-point increments. The highest threshold is 740, then they price it from 740 to 720, 720 to 700. Where it really gets aggressive with their pricing is when you get below 700, then the rate becomes aggressively worse. Okay. So 740, if you have an 800 credit score, you've met the 740 threshold.
Perfect. I do have one more question. If I need assistance in improving my credit, because I actually pay all my bills on time, but my points don't seem to go up as quickly, do you guys assist on that?
We really don't. We can do a thing called a rapid rescore. A lot of times when we see people that have, and I look at credit profiles all the time, I'm not a credit expert by any means, but when I take a look at it, go, I don't see anything wrong with this credit. So what we can do is run a thing called a rapid rescore, and it'll usually come back and say, okay, if you go out and pay this bill or this off, we can increase it. That's one way. The other way is if we can't do it that route, you can always get with a credit, specialist, usually the credit repair people, which I don't advise because I don't have anybody that I recommend for that, but I've seen a lot of people do that.
Very nice. I have another question coming in. Give me 1 second here. They're typing up. All right. Aaron and Graham, do you foresee the cash flow being affected by the high interest rates? And I'm going to answer this one because I haven't answered anything today. It doesn't matter if you're locking in your interest rate today. It doesn't matter what's going to be a year from now. You're actually being guaranteed today's rate. That's the beauty about this program. I have several properties coming up for closing, and I'm going to be contacting them as well. It doesn't make any sense for you not to do this. It really doesn't, right? This is why you pay a healthcare insurance, automobile insurance, fire insurance on your house. You definitely don't want your house to catch on fire. But this is why you would actually pay those fees, is to lock in your interest rate today, so you don't have to be worrying or talking about this for a year. So I think we covered pretty much all of the questions. Do you guys have any final remarks, any thoughts for us,
just
guys?
to add to that comment, if you know what your cash flow is going to be today, chances are it's going to improve because you got a locked in rate. One of the things I know that's happening in Florida is the rents are going through the roof.
Oh my God.
It is crazy. So the insurance in Florida is very reasonable. The taxes are very reasonable. We all know that those two will potentially go up a little bit, not a whole lot, but what's going up at a rapid rate, you can share with us on where we are with the rents these days.
Well, actually, I have an in-house property management company, so I have firsthand a thermometer in my hands. We actually are seeing, and the market is telling us, we're going to be up 20.8% on rents this year. So
Wow.
Usually what happens if you're a real estate investor, and you know this, usually prices tend to go up. The price of the property goes up, and it takes 8 months to a year for the rents to catch up. Usually on the next review on rent is when you see those big ticks on rent. So 20.8% in the greater Orlando area, our average rent on a per household right now is $1,900. In Ocala, for example, we're getting $1,750 on a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. This is a house, guys and girls, that we used to sell for $139,900. The today is appraising for $240, $245. So absolutely amazing. Palm Bay, insane. Houses that were selling for $190, $195. Today they're selling for $320, $325, and we don't have any available. Rents, $2,300. I just leased one last week for $2,300. This client actually paid, I think, $225 for the house. So that's over 1% a month on rent. And don't forget that this is leverage. He only gave 20% down. So if you do cash on cash, it's crazy how much money they're making on this.
Some of the properties that I purchased from Wagner, well, right at a year ago, because I'm getting a lot of emails from management saying, okay, lease is coming up. What do you want to do? They give me their recommendation. I kind of do my homework, but we've been taking the rents up 100, 150, sometimes even more. And this is what's weird is the tenant, you would think, well, I'm just going to leave. The tenant is not stupid. Okay. They're not going to like the fact you're going up, but they're going to do their homework as well. They're going to go out and check with Zillow or whatever the heck they got to do. And they're going to come back and say, okay, we'll take your rent increase because you have a very nice product. You took the rent up according to the marketplace. Chances are they're going to stay.
Graham, you know what? You're absolutely right. And you're being very conservative and nice to your existing tenants by only raising 100. I know you bought a lot of properties in Point Siena, for example. I mean, the prices of those properties just skyrocketed, but the rents are on the 2000s, so crazy. One last question here just popped up. If I'm in the process of buying one house currently, is there any challenges you foresee to lock in the rate in your current program? Please advise. You guys can answer this one, but I don't foresee any problem as long as you have the credit, as long as you have the property, the contract that already signed and you have deposits in with us. If you already have a good credit score, if you have a job, if you have all the stability and the pre-qualifications that are necessary for you, no problem, right, guys? They can do it. No forcing issues on locking in the interest rate. to the opposite. This is why we're actually showing this to you guys, if we understood correctly, is this is for you, client and investor, that currently has a contract or is getting ready to sign a contract on a new build or an existing house that you're waiting to be completed, so you can actually guarantee your fixed interest rate today. So what you're going to do is you'll be quoted a rate. A year from now, you're going to close on the house max, but it's going to be today's rate. So that's why we're bringing this program. This is why this is gold. This is really, really, really important for you guys. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. And to be honest, I don't want to know either. I trust those guys that I lock in my rate, and my rate's going to be locked. So, you know,
Here comes that crystal ball and the hammer again.
You take the problem out of your hands and you put it into theirs. So, you know, this is a credible company. Graham has been in business for a long time. Aaron has been in business for a long time. We closed hundreds and hundreds of loans with those guys from our investors. So very trusted people. Thanks, guys. We're running out of time. I really, really appreciate all the hard work in putting the presentation together on visualizing such an amazing program. So thank you guys so much for being here today. Aaron, thank you. Graham, thank you so much. This actually is going to be available for you offline. So if you want a copy of this recording, send us an email, or Aaron and Graham an email. I will share my screen one last time just to share once again their contact information. And if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Let me just make sure you guys can visualize. This is Graham Parham and Aaron Stanley from Highlands Residential Mortgage. This is their contact information. We don't make any money off of this, guys. We just wanted to bring you the best people in the business for you to actually have more opportunity. Thank you very much. Wagner Nolasco from B2R Direct. We really appreciate the opportunity, guys, and have an amazing day.
Thank you.